Have you ever caught yourself meticulously curating every single aspect of your online profiles? Pouring hours and hours into ensuring the image of effortless perfection with every post? Patiently awaiting the flood of positive feedback from friends, family, and complete strangers to revalidate your self-worth? Now, none of us are strangers to this sort of behavior, and it certainly doesn't make any of us narcissists, but there is a line drawn between being particular and being dangerously self-absorbed. Sorry for that. Now, those with larger followings do admit that once their amalgamations of faithful followers has grown to extreme heights, so do their feelings of entitlement and grandiosity, a subtle feeling of superiority growing to extreme heights. Some, if not most, find themselves using the public's response to their content as metrics against which they can measure their self-worth and their success. This, coupled with the mechanisms facilitated by social media, allowing individuals to curate and showcase all sorts of appearances, lifestyles, and achievements, which are often over-exemplified and distorted, creates fertile ground for narcissistic behaviors to flourish. Now, what is narcissism? Note that whilst I am using the term narcissism outright, I am in no way denoting to the disorder narcissistic personality disorder, as they are two separate and distinct concepts. Narcissism is a trait, much like benevolence or arrogance. It is simply described as being an unreasonably high sense of self-importance, coupled with an inability to feel empathy for others. Narcissistic personality disorder, however, is a pervasive pattern of behaviors that affects every single aspect of one's life and functionality. Anyone with narcissism is capable of developing narcissistic personality disorder, but just because it hasn't grown to that extremity yet does not mean it does not pose just as a significant threat to societal order as we know it today. Narcissism in the digital age is a phenomenon that has gained immense traction as of late due to its rising prevalence and its disastrous, immense effects on society as we know it today. And it comes as no surprise. The digital era accommodates narcissistic personalities flawlessly. The rise in means of instant communication and the rise in prominence of instant gratification, which completely alleviate the need to even wait for positive feedback in the first place. The anonymity afforded by social media platforms, which have significantly stunted the development of empathy in today's youth as they start to dissociate words said from the evocation of emotions. And the lack of policing and ease with which hyper-idealized, often over-exaggerated personas can be portrayed online, which slowly start to feel real as the individual creates more and more amplified versions of themselves, are all contributing factors to not only the upsurge of social media narcissism, but also the core tenets of what make narcissism, social media, especially addictive. The reason as to why social media feedback is especially compelling stems from a complex and biological reaction produced whenever you get a new like, comment, or follower. Upon receiving such internet goodie points, your brain releases dopamine, a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and reward. Social media conglomerates manipulate one of the most indispensable tools for the maintenance of homeostasis within the human body, the positive feedback loop. A self-perpetuating loop that is set off by an initial stimulus. Here, our initial stimulus is dopamine, triggered by receiving any form of validation that you may online. After the initial release, you are officially hooked, relegated to spending hours and hours on social media in search for your next hit, sent into a cycle of validation-seeking behavior, and put in an echo chamber of positive feedback. Now, narcissism in the digital age has created absolutely disastrous repercussions on modern society. These include, but are not limited to, a lack of professional productivity, as an influx in narcissism in the common workforce has been directly associated with widespread sabotage and a lack of accountability. This is due to a narcissist's tendency to blame others for their shortcomings and their absolute distaste for seeing others succeed in their place. Additionally, surges in drug abuse have also been observed alongside surges in narcissistic personalities, mainly due to a narcissist's inclination towards psychedelics in order to muffle their inferiority and bolster their sense of superiority. One of the most unexpected and unfortunate side effects of narcissism on today is the upsurge in extremism. As aforementioned, narcissists generally have a predisposition to not care for others' interests and place their interests above all. And so it may lead to the formation of groups with the sole intent of destroying and abusing others without any regard to their own interests. All of these problems are in dire need of rectification, but the answer and solution is within reach. Being part of the solution, however, requires the ability to distinguish one's behaviors as narcissistic, both online and in real life. Some telltale signs that you may be dealing with a narcissist online include sexually provocative content, profane language, and controversial statements on their profiles. This is because solely on social media, narcissists tend to blur the line between good and bad attention, viewing them as mutually exclusive, and thus relegating to doing anything in order to receive that attention in the first place. In real life, if you find yourself face-to-face with someone who monopolizes the conversation, being absolutely inept at maintaining discourse that does not pertain to them, if they are constantly in search of external validation and constant words of affirmation, and if they have an incredibly inflated ego and sense of entitlement, then you are most definitely dealing with a narcissist. Couple this with copious, excessive handling of their social media profiles is a dead giveaway of a narcissist whose narcissism has either been perpetuated by social media or developed by it. Now, however of a daunting task it may seem to remedy the selfie obsession we find ourselves challenged with today, it is definitely not impossible. Through in-depth introspection, restriction of access to social media platforms, encouraging our youth to be authentic rather than refined, we can be rid of the validation nations that we've created alongside revenue-hungry conglomerates. Let us reevaluate our priorities, reallocate our time to creating real, meaningful bonds with one another. Let us stop the obsession with arbitrary internet prizes that only keep you on a hamster wheel, hungry for more. I know you're tired, and that's why I hope to find you on the flip side. Thank you very much. Here is my contact information. Thank you so much. With special thanks to Ms. Dai, our dear principal, Ms. Hosseini, our darling counsellor, who has had many sleepless nights preparing us for this, Ms. Tahiri, who I'm sure has worked tirelessly to ensure everything moves smoothly here. Could not be more grateful, and I extend my gratitude to every single organizer that participated in this. Thank you so much.